Welcome back to the Deep Dive. You've sent us an intense, detailed stack of source material this week, and we are plunging headfirst into the high-stakes world of Salem, focusing on one single, absolutely explosive week.
Yeah, this isn't just any week, is it?
Yeah.
Well, our sources paint a picture of total system failure. We're looking at September 29th to October 3rd, 2025.
Right.
And it's a period where it feels like every conflict, every bit of history simmering under the surface just gets violently exposed.
And it's all thanks to the most reliable plot device imaginable.
Oh, yeah. A widespread municipal disaster. You can always count on it.
Exactly. So the central mechanism is this massive power outage, the blackout. And our mission today really is to distill that chaos. We're tracking, what, 3 main threads?
Yeah, I think that's right. 3 big ones all tangled up.
Okay, so first, how the blackout literally traps people, forces them together, especially those trying to stay apart,
Yeah.
that lingering chemistry thing.
Then second, you've got the schemes, the manipulation tactics just escalating like crazy, especially with Salem's newest generation of villainy.
Right, the next wave. And finally, the third thread is these converging medical crises and some really serious warnings tied to family legacies, the stuff that defines Salem.
Absolutely. And these predictions we have, they're detailed. Character movements, motivations, even where plot devices get planted. It paints this vivid picture of a town really under siege, physically, but also, like, psychologically.
So we need to go beyond just summarizing. We need to analyze the mechanics, right? Why this stuff is happening now.
Precisely. Let's get into it.
Let's not waste any more time. We need to jump straight into the darkness. Okay, let's unpack this.
Okay, so the blackout. It's the classic soap opera pressure cooker, isn't it? Hits Salem, freezes everything. Characters can't run from the people or the truths they've been dodging.
And nothing says forced confrontation like the elevator trap. It's simple, effective, works every single time.
It really does.
And our sources confirm this week's main victims are E.J. DeMera and Belle Black.
Yep. Suddenly stuck. Very intimately. And you got to think about the tension there. They broke up, relatively recently? After Johnny's trial got so messy.
Yeah, and the sources were clear. Belle had much to say to E.J., like a whole load of unresolved stuff, anger, resentment, maybe regret.
Definitely. Stuff she hadn't gotten a chance to really unload on him face to face.
And boom, fate, or the scriptwriters, deliver him to her. Small, dark metal box, maybe suspended somewhere.
Exactly. And the material even hints, despite how intense it is, there could be sparks. Which, given their history.
Oh, totally. They're long, very complicated, very physical history. It's probably less about polite chat and more about, that emotional circuit between them just overloading.
Right. It's fascinating, too. You've got this town full of secret labs, high-tech corporate spying, and it's a simple power grid failure that forces the real human moments.
It proves the power of just sticking people in a room, doesn't it?
It does, and we see that same mechanism maybe with a slightly more romantic potential playing out with Xander Cook and Sarah Horton.
Ah, yes. They get trapped together, too.
They do. Their situation's a bit different, though. They've been doing that dance, right? Hostility mixed with something else. That attraction that just won't quit.
Since the estrangement, yeah. So, trapped in the dark. What happens?
Chemistry reignites. The sources confirm a passionate kiss happens.
Okay, so the forced intimacy works.
Seems like it. And the sources suggest that afterwards, in the aftermath of that kiss, they actually find some common ground. They might even agree to try marriage counseling.
Oh, wow. That's constructive, especially since we know Marlene has been pushing for that too, right?
Exactly. It shows maybe a real commitment to fixing things, not just, getting swept up again.
Okay, but wait. If they're kissing, talking therapy, why the hesitation? The sources also mentioned one of them is going to tap the brakes.
Ah, yes.
Why pump the brakes right after a big moment like that? Seems counterintuitive.
Well, dramatically, it keeps the tension going, but I think analytically it makes sense. It respects the baggage,
Okay.
They can't just leap from being legally separated back into happily ever after because of one blackout kiss. There's still all the stuff that drove them apart.
Trust issues, Xander's past.
Exactly. All of it. So tapping the brakes, maybe, especially from Sarah, could show Xander she needs him to be serious about the process of repair, not just the reunion itself. It adds realism.
That's a great point. Okay, shifting gears from romance to professional intrigue. We got another group trapped. Gabi Hernandez, Brady Black, and Philip Kiriakis.
Ooh, that is a volatile mix. Corporate history, criminal undertones, personal baggage. the trifecta.
So the immediate speculation has to be about Philip, right? What does he do with that leverage he just got?
You mean the listening device? The one he and Xander found?
Yeah. If he's trapped with Gabi and Brady, surely he uses it.
You'd have to think so. It's the perfect opportunity. He could bring it up, watch their reactions, rattle them, or just let them know he knows. In the dark, that psychological pressure just ramps up. They can't see his next move.
Nasty. Okay, who else?
We've also got Chanel Dupree and Felicity Green stuck at Sweet Bits. A bit less life or death, maybe?
Neves Alex Kyriakis to rescue them, apparently.
Right. Alex seems to be playing the hero during this blackout, popping up to help out. Which ties in nicely with his whole thing with stuffing, right?
Yeah, good point. But the most intriguing, maybe the most dangerous entrapment situation that belongs to Gwen Ritchek.
Agreed. She's isolated, alone, and the location is key. The under construction area of the hospital.
And this is where the source material gives us the really juicy stuff.
Yeah.
It's not just any construction zone.
No. The sources specify it houses two critical things. One, a secret science lab.
A secret science lab, of course.
And two, the Tom Horton Free Clinic, which the sources explicitly state might be serving as a cover for the lab.
Okay, hold on. A secret lab covered by a free clinic. That's peak Salem logic right there.
Isn't it just? It immediately tells you whatever's happening in that lab is ethically dubious, maybe illegal. The clinic provides the perfect moral shield. Plausible reason for people coming and going. Supplies.
The irony is thick. Charity and healing on the surface, and underneath. Who knows? Genetic experiments, mind control tech maybe. Or maybe something toxic like
the Demera history we need to talk about later.
Yeah. So Gwen, trapped alone in this highly sensitive secret area during a total blackout. Her vulnerability is off the charts.
Absolutely. It's not just the physical danger of a dark construction site. She's now right next to potential evidence of a massive secret plot.
She could stumble onto anything.
Right.
Documents, equipment, maybe even see someone she shouldn't. The blackout, meant to force confrontations between people, might have just put Gwen right in the path of a major discovery.
Huge potential catalyst.
Yeah.
Huge.
So while Salem's dealing with the blackout externally, internally, the manipulation game is being played hard. And the MVP seems to be the new face of focused villainy. Sophia Choi.
Yeah, Sophia is. She's playing for keeps. Not just random meddling. Her target is laser focused.
Yeah.
Derail Johnny Demera and Chanel Dupree's adoption plans.
And the sources give us this really specific, deeply personal motivation. It's not just general spite.
No, it's fear. Fear of exposure. She's apparently terrified about this baby being adopted into Tate Black's extended family.
Why? What's the connection?
The deep dive suggests she's worried the baby's resemblance to Tate, or just its presence near him, could raise questions about a child that Tate and Sophia might have had together. A secret child.
Whoa. Okay, so stopping this adoption isn't just about messing with Chanel. It's about protecting her own massive secret from the past. A secret involving Tate.
Exactly. It's preemptive, desperate self-protection, which explains the intensity, the urgency of her actions.
Okay, so how does she do it? What's the method?
Chillingly precise. And she uses the blackout chaos. The plan is to sabotage the adoption by framing Johnny, making it look like he acted inappropriately with Holly Jonas.
Wow.
She uses the darkness to take incriminating photos of Holly, and then this is the clever, nasty part. She plans to send them directly to Johnny.
Not to Chanel, to Johnny.
Right, not the obvious route. To Johnny, specifically, the sources say, to cause conflict between him and Chanel.
Oh, that's smart, because it puts Johnny in an impossible position. He gets these photos. Does he hide them? Does he confess? It creates doubt, fear, secrecy before Chanel even knows anything's wrong.
Exactly. It forces him to grapple with it privately. And the analysis we have really leans into how calculated this is. They explicitly compare Sophia's tactics to Jan Spears.
Jan Spears. Wow, okay.
Yeah.
That's a benchmark for obsessive destructive behavior.
Yeah.
Hidden cameras, psychological warfare.
The sources position Sophia as Salem's younger generation equivalent, a new supervillainous archetype.
If she's the new Jan Spears, this isn't just a one-off plot. This suggests a long, damaging arc is coming.
Yeah, and given she's already messed with Holly and Tate, and now she's using Johnny like this, you really have to question the sustainability of Johnny and Chanel's relationship.
Can they withstand that kind of targeted psychological assault? Especially if it looks convincing.
That's the question. Do they have the critical thinking, maybe, to see it as external manipulation versus, a genuine failing on Johnny's part? An image can do damage so fast. Harder to undo than just a lie.
Yeah, true. Okay, speaking of damage control and maybe needing better security, Let's talk about Chad and Kat Green. Their relationship is heating up, but it's getting complicated.
Very complicated. The main issue seems practical at first glance. Location. Where can they meet?
Right. As it gets more serious, meeting near the Horton house where Chad lives is just too risky, too many prying eyes. The sources specifically mention Felicity Green as someone they need to avoid.
Which suggests Felicity is maybe suspicious or Kat feels threatened by her knowing. Either way, they need a new spot. Private. Neutral.
And the solution proposed is the Salem Inn. Classic neutral ground.
It is. Provides privacy, no domestic ties. It definitely signals a shift, though, doesn't it? From maybe a casual thing to something requiring, like you said, operational security.
But just as they're maybe solving that logistical problem, a massive external threat pops up.
Yeah, this one's big. The potential return of Kat's brother, Dr. Mark Green.
And Mark Green isn't just, an annoying brother-in-law figure. He's dangerous.
Very dangerous. He previously tried to harm Chad, right? On Clyde Weston's orders.
Exactly. And now the sources say he's up for parole and might come back to Salem and might even stay with Kat.
Okay, Chad is not going to like that. Not one bit.
Understatement. The guy who tried to kill you might be moving in with your secret girlfriend. The stakes just went through the roof.
Yeah, if Mark comes back, the cover story they need isn't just about hiding a romance anymore. It might be about hiding Chad, a potential target, from a violent threat living right there.
And this lands on top of existing trust issues, right? There's already suspicion swirling around them.
E.J. DiMera is apparently questioning Kat's inquiries, which he's digging into. Maybe about the Dimeras, maybe about Chad himself.
While Chad, meanwhile, is still suspicious about Kat's supposed ex-boyfriend, the one she's always texting.
Right. That lie she told early on may be meant to be temporary. But the continued texting, it creates this nagging doubt for Chad. Understandably so.
So they desperately need a new cover story, not just for the affair, but to manage their own mistrust and shield themselves. Shield Chad from Mark Green, shield Kat from EJ's scrutiny. It's a mess.
It's getting very tangled very quickly.
Okay, let's shift focus a bit. The forces of fate, or maybe just bad luck, seem to be zeroing in on characters connected to Salem's history, starting with a sudden medical crisis involving Foster, the big store owner.
Yeah, this one seems to come out of nowhere. It starts nicely enough, actually. Abe Carver and Julie Williams are apparently discussing paperwork with Foster.
And the sources suggest they might be looking to acquire the bookshop together, which sounds lovely, actually.
Yeah.
Very community-focused.
A real touch of Salem tradition, right? A nice counterpoint to all the DiMera plotting and backstabbing.
But this is Salem, so nice things don't last. What happens?
During this very discussion, Foster just collapses, or close to it. He clutches his head. Immense pain. It's clearly serious.
And the sources list the possibilities.
Yeah, the scary stuff. Aneurysm, stroke, maybe a tumor, or, best case scenario, a really, really severe migraine. But it's presented as a major medical event.
Wow, so it's the medical mystery trope hitting hard.
In full force. Julie acts fast, rushes him to University Hospital. Kayla Brady takes over his care.
And the immediate fallout for Abe and Julie.
Well, they're dealing with the shock, obviously. And Julie, very pragmatically, promises to manage the bookstore while Foster recovers. So that potential venture just became a sudden responsibility.
It's a classic narrative jolt, isn't it? It interrupts a quiet moment, underscores how fragile things are, even for background characters we like.
Definitely. And while that's unfolding, a much more central character is dealing with her own escalating medical mystery. One that seems to defy diagnosis. Marlena Evans.
Marlena faints again. This has been building, right? The fainting spells, the weird dreams.
Yeah, and it's getting worse, intensifying, raising serious alarm bells, especially for Sarah and John.
But the tests, what do they show?
Nothing. That's the baffling part.
Yeah.
Sarah Horton confirms all Marlena's biological tests. Normal, clear. No physical explanation for why she's collapsing.
Okay, but the sources also mention stress, exhaustion.
Mm-hmm.
Those are possible, right? Why jump straight to something more out there, like mind control? Is the source material pushing that angle?
That's a really good question. And yes, stress is plausible. But you have to consider the character history here. We're talking about Marlena Evans.
Decades of demonic possession, mind control plots, weird experiments, usually involving the Damaris.
Exactly. So for this character, when all the physical tests come back normal despite clear, severe symptoms, it immediately signals something external, something non-physical. The audience is conditioned to think that way with Marlena.
Right.
So the source material leans into that. It lists possibilities, yes, but it specifically includes mind control because that fits her narrative history perfectly. It raises the stakes instantly.
It's true. When Salem's top psychiatrist starts collapsing for no reason, you don't check her iron levels first. You check for residual Stephanotech or, I don't know, Orpheus beaming thoughts at her.
Pretty much. The lack of a physical cause is the clue in her case.
Yeah.
The enemy is invisible, which makes it way more dangerous.
And speaking of invisible dangers,
Yeah.
and maybe Demera legacies, this brings us to Abe Carver's dilemma.
Right. Paulina Price is encouraging her son, Theo Carver, to take a job offer. A big one.
From Tony Demera at Demera Enterprises.
Huge opportunity for Theo. Major corporate role. But Abe has reservations. Serious ones. Deeply rooted ones. He keeps telling Theo to use discernment with the Demera side of his family. But this isn't just, generic dad advice about shady corporations.
No, this goes back to Lexi Carver, Abe's late wife.
Exactly. And the sources remind us why. Lexi suffered and ultimately died because of toxins in the Demera tunnels.
That's the poisoned legacy Abe is fighting against. He knows the literal, fatal cost of getting too close to Demera power, Demera secrets. That history is raw for him.
It's incredibly powerful thematically. Demera Enterprises isn't just a company. It's presented as this place where the past literally poisons the present. Abe's trauma gives him this clarity, this necessary caution.
And he's trying to make Theo see that this shiny job offer comes with, well, a foundation built on literal poison.
Yeah. And the question is, will Theo, eager to make his mark, listen? Or will he ignore that warning about the deep historical corruption baked into that family name?
Okay, let's pivot slightly. From mortal danger and poisoned legacies to relationship logistics, which honestly can feel almost as stressful sometimes. We're talking Stephanie Johnson and Alex Kyriakis moving in together.
Right. And Kayla, being the concerned mom, is checking in, asking if Stephanie's nervous about it. The usual anxiety around a big commitment step like cohabitation.
Totally normal. But the detail the source material highlights here is, well, it's wonderfully absurd. And it kind of demands we talk about it.
You mean the packing?
Yeah. Kayla's helping Stephanie pack, and the sources make a point of noting the sheer volume of boxes and packing tape. Loads of it.
Despite the fact that the move is only across the hall.
Exactly. It's like 20 feet, maybe,
Yeah.
by all the boxes. It's hilarious.
It is, but it's that practicality paradox, right? The physical move is nothing, trivial, but they're treating it like they're moving cross-country.
So the writers are using the physical absurdity to show us something else.
I think so.
Yeah.
It visualizes the emotional weight of the move, the commitment, the change.
It's symbolic packing tape.
Exactly. They're not just moving furniture. They're merging lives, histories, expectations. And that emotional effort requires the metaphorical sheer volume of boxes, regardless of the actual distance.
That makes sense. It highlights that the real hurdle isn't the hallway. It's the combining of two separate lives into one shared space. It underscores the significance of the step for Stephanie.
Yeah, it's a clever little detail. It reminds us that even happy changes take effort.
And speaking of effort and making relationships work,
Yeah.
this brings us back around to Xander and Sarah. They had that passionate kiss during the blackout. What's the immediate next step?
Well, crucially, Sarah seems to be the one driving things forward in a healthy direction. She's trying to convince Xander, her estranged husband, to actually go to couples therapy.
That's the follow-up. Not another kiss, but therapy.
Yeah, and that distinction feels important. She's not just asking for reconciliation. She's asking for a structural fix, pushing for therapy right after that emotional reunion. It shows she's serious about building something stronger.
Addressing the core issues, the secrets, the lies, the distrust that broke them up in the first place.
Exactly. It shows real maturity, I think. A long-term view. She's refusing to just ride the emotional wave from the blackout crisis.
And Marlena supports this approach, too.
Right. So that choice, the push for therapy, it positions their relationship as maybe one of the few that's actively trying to break the cycle of chaos in Salem, trying to build something properly this time.
Okay, we've hit the big crises triggered by the blackout and the ongoing schemes. But this week also sees some lingering, more shadowy threats really ramping up. Specifically, Stephanie's stalking situation.
Yeah, the sources confirm it. She is definitely being stalked. Same person they noticed last week. So this isn't going away. It's intensifying, right as things are getting serious and happy with Alec.
Classic soap timing. And do we know who it is yet?
The audience might not see a face reveal this week, but the sources are pointing fingers. The prime suspect, Jeremy Horton.
Jeremy Horton. Okay, why now? Why him? And does it connect to anything else happening, like at the hospital?
Well, the speculation in the sources ties it directly to her professional life, possibly. She might be doing some kind of anonymous online Q&A.
Using an alias.
Yeah, maybe as Anastasia Sands, and potentially discussing sensitive hospital information maybe related to her PR work, or maybe she's digging into things herself.
Anastasia Sands.
Yeah.
Okay, so if she's putting information out there, even anonymously, about the hospital.
Right. That visibility, combined with her job giving her access and her proximity to whatever's happening with that secret lab, it could absolutely be what put her on Jeremy Horton's radar or someone else's.
So she might not be a random target. She might be targeted because she knows something or is close to knowing something.
That seems to be the implication. It links her personal danger directly to the larger hospital mystery, the secret lab, Gwen being trapped there. It all feels connected. Information is dangerous in Salem.
Always is. Okay, finally, we need to touch on a character exit. Rachel Black. The sources say she's expected to spiral out of control soon.
Yeah, and this seems largely driven by real-world logistics, which the sources actually provide context for.
The actress.
Right. Alice Halsey, the actress playing Rachel, finished taping her role back in May. She landed the role of Laura in the new Little House on the Prairie reboot. Great opportunity for her.
Absolutely. So the show needed a way to write Rachel out, at least temporarily.
Exactly. And the predicted exit strategy is, well, it's suitably dramatic for a character spiraling. The speculation is she'll have a total breakdown,
Covered by
a temporary trip to the pediatric wing of Bayview Mental Hospital.
Bayview, of course.
Mm-hmm.
The go-to spot for temporary exits and mental anguish.
It's the definitive soap solution, isn't it?
Yeah.
Especially for a child character. It provides a high-drama reason for her absence, acknowledging the spiraling behavior, maybe anger at her parents, Tate, whatever, but leaves the door wide open for her return later.
Maybe with a recast or just after a time jump in her story.
Exactly. It serves the plot needs and the real-world scheduling demands. Tidy, if dramatic. #tag outro.
Wow. Okay, that was an incredible amount of convergence in just 1 week. A single blackout acting like a catalyst for romance, corporate backstabbing, physical danger, while all the underlying schemes just kept churning.
It really shows how interconnected everything is in Salem. One event ripples out everywhere.
So let's quickly recap the absolute critical takeaways you need to hold on to from this deep dive. What are the biggest threats looming?
Okay, first, Sophia Choi. Her campaign against the adoption is calculated, multi-layered, Jan Spears level, like we said. It's psychological warfare rooted in her own secret history with Tate. That's huge.
Yeah, it's not going away soon. Second,
The danger around Chad and Kat, it just peaked. Dr. Mark Green potentially returning, a direct, violent threat against Chad. Their need for a cover story is now about literal survival, not just secrecy.
very serious. And third,
Marlena's mystery. Those fainting spells, worsening symptoms, but normal test results. It just screams external influence pushing us towards that mind control possibility, a huge threat hanging over Salem's Rock.
right. And all of this, the convergence, the secrets, the risks, it brings us right back to that idea of discernment and legacy.
Especially Abe's warning to Theo.
Yeah, that warning about the DeMero legacy wasn't vague. It was rooted in specifics, the toxins that killed Lexi. The DeMeras deal in poisoned knowledge, poisoned power, with real physical costs.
And thinking to all the other schemes and cover-ups we just analyzed. Sophia's manipulation, the literal construction of a secret science lab under a free clinic's cover.
Abe's warning suddenly feels like it applies much wider than just DeMera Enterprises, doesn't it?
It really does. It makes you ask, how should everyone in Salem apply that caution when knowledge itself seems dangerous, when opportunity might be poison?
Should characters focus on moving forward, embracing change? Or do they have to constantly look back, dwell in the past? Dangers that are often literally buried right beneath their feet, like in those tunnels.
It seems like Salem demands both, doesn't it? Forward motion, but with constant vigilance, that discernment Abe talks about. It feels like the only real defense when the people you trust or the places you work might be built on toxic foundations, literal or figurative.
What is the cost of moving forward in a town like that? Something to think about. Thank you for joining us for this deep dive.
We'll catch you next time.